Hello world, welcome to Ctrl+Alt+Danominator. My name is Dan, and this is the device. Devices? Device-I? Never mind, let's just get on with it. Oh man, this one hurts me a little. Guys, I was really not expecting my first overly critical review to be of the Clicks keyboard. I wanted to love this thing so much, and I'm still trying to spend more time with it, so honestly this could change long term. But after having it for a good few months, I gotta say, I'm not as impressed as I want to be. This is not completely Clicks' fault. As a matter of fact, I want to say right now, the form factor and this very idea are what I bought the case for in the first place. I can see the potential of this entire thing, and maybe it's going to be better purposed in the Clicks keyboard when it comes out as its own little Bluetooth piece, or in the Clicks Communicator, which I'm still kind of interested in, but for now we're talking about how it works on the Razr Plus, or more specifically, the Moto Razr Plus 2024, because yep, this is still the one that I'm using, and unfortunately I'm not sure it's going to keep the Clicks keyboard on it. First impressions, I have to say, were pretty amazing. I really do love how clicky this keyboard feels. It's nice, it really is, and honestly, I think it has a lot of great ideas going for it. One of them is how this keyboard is supposed to be more ergonomic. Just looking at the design right here, you can see the keys are curved slightly outward, which is a cool idea because I guess it's supposed to make it a little easier to hold and a little easier to type. Unfortunately, I gotta say, I don't like this design as much as I thought I would. It does feel kind of weird when you're actually typing and moving your fingers from key to key, so I'm not exactly in love with that. And then of course there's the general design and build quality of this thing, which yeah, what happened here? Okay, so admittedly this might have been my fault. At some point I was taking this whole thing with me, and I just wanted to put it in a little pouch, so I did that, and I'm not really sure what it was made of because I ended up throwing it away. The reason for that is that it stained the entire keyboard case, which is really weird, and you can't see it as much on camera, but it has completely tarnished the look of the Clicks keyboard, and the worst thing about it is that I got it in electric blue, so you can see it everywhere. I have tried cleaning this thing off with alcohol, nail polish remover, everything, and I need to look up more how to work on it, but I haven't managed to get it clean, so I don't know, maybe this thing is just a dirt magnet, but this all happened after one single carry in that grubby bag, so unfortunately, mine doesn't look nearly as new as it should because it's less than a year old. Is this silicone? I really don't know, but unfortunately, that's also kind of a problem, but hopefully it's only more of a personal gripe and a bad experience on my end. Then there's everything else. Alright, so real quick before it dies, for comparison, I've brought out my old Samsung Zeal, the phone that I mentioned being my first flip phone that I had about 10 or so years ago. I still think this thing is pretty incredible despite obviously not being usable anymore due to networks being cut off for it, and just the fact that it is very old and very slow. I would not recommend this to anyone, obviously. But the thing that makes it special is this typing experience. This is a very light phone. Most flip phones were, you know, they aren't meant to do a lot, and so they don't have crazy heavy batteries or processors in them, and they just flip open and closed, and that's pretty much all they do. You can start typing stuff in them and then just call somebody or text, and that's all it's meant to do. So this is a very small piece, and it is very good at the one or two things that it does. The problem is how much different these two devices really are. Now, I'm sorry for using an over 10-year-old flip phone to compare to a Moto Razr Plus, but here's the thing. This is the most recent typing experience I can think of that closely relates to this one, and there is a massive difference between the two of these, and all you gotta do to see it is turn them to the side. This phone is massive compared to this one, And you can probably start to see the problem here. These phones are not super light. This is a regular smartphone that just so happens to fold in half, which certainly helps in the size comparison, but it's also a lot heavier. These have big batteries in them. They have processors, a lot more metal. I mean, this thing is basically made of plastic. So why is any of this a problem? Because typing like this is just bloody uncomfortable. I'm sorry. Gonna pull up my notes on this thing so that you can see, since the last time we've taken a look at this phone, there is so much more real estate on the screen now, and honestly, that is the best thing about this. I mean, that's the whole point, right? Is that you're able to have all of your keyboard space now down here, and you can just use the touchscreen to see all the notes you're writing. I mean, it's why people call this the Razrberry. It is literally a Motorola Razr and a BlackBerry coming together and having a cute little baby. And I mean, it does do a great job at being that form factor. And again, I still think this thing looks best when closed, although I will show you it open in a little bit. But here, if I go to start typing, let's see how well I do. Hello world, and then I gotta remember where the comma is right there. My name is Danominator. And that was pretty easy to do for the most part. The problem is you might notice my hands are fidgeting around an awful lot as I'm typing. This video, I'm starting to mistype already, is about the, oh boy, here we go. Moto Razr Clicks, guys, I've missed a C, keyboard, and I don't think I like it very much. Now, okay, keep in mind, you can obviously see it. I have large hands. I mean, look at this. My thumb practically covers up 9 of the keys. So maybe I am not the target demographic for using this thing. Maybe it's meant for smaller hands and that's completely fair. But here's something else I've noticed about that. Take a look at the size of this key compared to the size of this key. Again, if I'm putting this down a minute and I'm just typing, obviously the phone is dead, but you can see hello. Oh my goodness, it's not. The phone isn't dead. That's incredible. Hang on a second. Oh my goodness, the notepad still works. Okay, here we go. I used to type stuff in this all the time. So, hello world. Now you might notice I'm actually kind of pressing other keys as I'm typing on this thing. However, it seems to not register, partially because the button is directly in the center of each one of these, I guess so that there wouldn't be as many typing mistakes. And despite the fact that they have worn down significantly over the years, and I did have to start pressing them harder as I went, you can see I can mostly do it up to the point where I keep talking and then stop focusing on it. And now my name is Danominator. But you generally get the idea, and again, this is so much easier to press down on because I don't have this massive weight sticking out at the top of the phone, nearly falling over as I'm trying to type. Now coming back to this thing, and I guess one of the better aspects of it is how the keys are a little spaced apart, but again, because they tried to do this ergonomic thing, maybe this was on BlackBerries back in the day, I don't really know, it's kind of made the keys a little slick because they all move inward, and maybe that's why I'm mistyping so much on it. This phone is a lot faster, the keys haven't worn down, so it should automatically have a bunch of advantages over my old flip phone. But here I go again. You can see I can type something I'm used to doing, but the problem... come on. Problem is that I can't hold this keyboard comfortably. Just trying to force my fingers over here is annoying. I should just be able to hold it like this, right? Or maybe like this. But again, there's just not a lot of real estate over here, and I feel like that's what's killing the typing experience for me. And somehow I'm afraid to say it gets worse. All right, I'm gonna be really critical and unfair to this thing for a minute. So if I open it up all the way, The world's tallest phone has somehow gotten taller. Look at this. It's ridiculous, but I love it. I'm sorry, I can't help myself. Actually, it's kind of fun to just sit there and have a video playing like that. I will say it is kind of nice for that. And there's a little tiny bit more weight here and there's a bit better distribution. So this thing sits up really nicely now. And actually, here real quick, if I go open it up like this, you can do the same thing and then have a YouTube video playing like here. And again, there's a nice weight at the back, so it is pretty good. Unfortunately, it is not enough to save this typing experience. Oh my goodness, this is even worse somehow. Hello. World, my name is Danominator. You see how much I'm having to move my palms just to type on this thing? I don't have to do that with this. I can just hold it and know that it's not going to drop. For the most part, I can just press on the back of it and start typing away and it would do its job. When it comes to a big old smartphone having a keyboard at the bottom of it, you need to have more weight pushed into the actual device's case or it's gonna feel uneven. I'm going to type a coherent sentence. Ugh, I can't do it. I'm really trying, guys. It's just that this thing doesn't really seem to want to be typed with comfortably. And again, once I close this, it's a little better, but unfortunately, all it's really doing is folding the phone's weight in on itself, and that doesn't make a major difference. And somehow I have more to say, and it's not really good, to be honest. I'm sorry, guys. I promise you we're almost done. So there's not that much else to talk about with the Clicks keyboard, except for battery life and the backlight. Now, this actually does have that major advantage. All of these keys lit up because they were made of e-ink, so actually when you flip the phone up like this, you can see that it flip-flips like that. This is probably the coolest thing about the phone. I love that so much. Look at how cool of a feature that is. I cannot believe the battery hasn't died on these. Man, this thing is like indestructible for being an old piece of garbage. I love this phone for that. The keys are nicely lit. They were easy to type on before I started wearing them down. Why must you make me suffer? All right, so this does have a backlight and I'm gonna show it to you. What the heck is this? Guys, I don't mean to be overly critical and I know I'm starting to get complainy, but this is not a good color for a keyboard. You can see I can actually see it better in low light when the keys are not lit. Look at that. And unfortunately, it is just as bad in person. As a matter of fact, I can make it worse somehow. All right, so I'm gonna open this up in full screen view again and open the Clicks app, which pretty bare bones at the moment. It is supposed to get an update at some point, which is gonna help a few things from what I hear, so that is good. But here, check this out. I've got the keyboard brightness set to minimum. You can see what it does when it's like that. Now let's take a look at how it is when it's maximized. Oh my goodness, this is miserable. I'm sorry, but looking at this in person just makes my eyes hurt. I'm not sure why they went with this style of blue. I mean, I get it's on theme, but you guys gotta think about that before you make a keyboard that looks like this. It's very uncomfortable and I would have rather it just had a white color. Now, maybe that's personal preference. Again, that's entirely possible. But I'm sorry, this just doesn't do it for me. There's one more thing to talk about when it comes to this whole package, and that is the battery drain. USB keyboards should not take up a lot of battery, even on standby, especially on standby. And from what I understand, this could partially be on Motorola, and they might still have to update a few things so that USB keyboards don't cause a massive amount of drain. This thing does. Every time I have used this phone without the keyboard, it sits on standby and lasts for way longer, like upwards of a week. With this thing on, it dies in a day or two. This was at 100% when I charged it yesterday, and then I went like this and put it in my charging bay, and I left it there. And in less than 24 hours, it has lost a third of battery. Now, I know that doesn't sound like much, but again, this doesn't currently have a SIM card in it. It's supposed to be my note-taking device. It just sits there until I need it or I need to go out somewhere, and I have no idea what the battery is going to be when I open this up. So, I'm sorry, guys. Again, I know that this was a very critical video, but man, already just holding this in my hands again, it's so much more comfortable. I think that this is a very nice form factor, and I was hoping to add on to it with a physical keyboard because that would be a unique feature of this device then. But no, this just feels better by itself, and I think I prefer it that way. At some point, I might end up getting some kind of thin case to put over it, and maybe I will still use it as my note-taking device. One of the things that I do to kind of force myself into productivity mode is I'll turn on my phone's hotspot, and then I'll use my secondary device to do productivity stuff. So perhaps I can still do that with this, because you have to be a lot more data wary when you're using a hotspot, which basically forces me to work on something on the device I'm currently on so that I don't waste my data. I know that's a really weird way to go about things, but what can I say? It works for me. So if I want to have this thing and just be typing away on it, I guess I can do some script writing. But at that point, I'm just using a regular phone. If I'm holding this by itself and then trying to type "Hello World," it feels so much more comfortable. Again, not crazy about the circular keys, and I'm not sure the ergonomics really do it for me, but that's partially because of my past experiences. Other than that, this feels great in the hand for the most part, and I just wish I could like it more. Unfortunately, I do think it is a little too thin, and that's partially just because of the nature of the phone it's using. So what was I really gonna do? You know, I can't complain about that. But unfortunately, most everything else about this piece of tech just doesn't work for me the way that I wanted it to, and I'm not really sure if I'm going to keep it. I suppose I could saw it in half like some people have and then attach it to something else, but at that point, it's not really a case anymore. It's just another USB keyboard that can only accept this kind of input if I plug it directly into something. So, a bit of a bummer, but I mean, you have to criticize the things you love. And there actually might be a silver lining to all of this, because I'm honestly still kind of interested in the Clicks Communicator. I know, after all the work I've done to tear this thing apart, you'd probably be wondering why I would even care about it. But here's the thing. That is a brand new device that is addressing the common issues of making something like this. It eliminates the middleman. It just makes the keyboard part of the device, which is exactly what BlackBerry did. The funny thing to me about all of this is that the communicator seems to be addressing a lot of the problems that I have with this exact setup. The communicator is a lot thinner because it's its own thing. The keys are taller, so it looks like they'll be easier to type on. The whole device is a little wider, and of course, it's got its own battery and the hardware is baked into the phone, so hopefully it'll have good battery life. And it is clearly designed to do more than I ever need it to, but it does act as a secondary communicator device, and you can do a lot more with it if you want, but mainly it's meant for that typing experience to complement your usual phone that you carry with you. So maybe that will be better, but I'm not spending $500 for it. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna pre-order the communicator. I've just decided that after this experience and having a few weeks with this thing, I think I'm just going to give Clicks a break for a little while and see how well the communicator is reviewed. Admittedly, when I was researching about this whole thing, I did see a couple of complaints here and there about the weight and the size difference, so again, I wasn't sure how well this was going to work for me personally because I am very different in a lot of aspects, but unfortunately, I think I'm just gonna hang on to the Razr as its own little pocketable device. I do still like carrying this thing around occasionally and setting it up somewhere while I'm working on other stuff. So I really do like the hardware, and again, this is my first foldable, so I can't say I've had a completely negative experience about this, but I don't see myself keeping this for very long. But now I want to hear what you guys think. Have you ordered a Clicks keyboard for the Motorola Razr, or perhaps you have it for something else? And if not, are you waiting for the communicator or the wireless Clicks? Because honestly, that's looking like a pretty decent device too. I'm really curious to hear what you guys think of all this because, again, everybody's gonna have different experiences between the weight and the hand size and the typing experience. I feel like it's going to be different for everyone. So please let me know if you've had any kind of experience with Clicks and maybe you've had a better time than I have with it. Maybe my next video will be more positive too. That's what I'm hoping. But until then, this is Ctrl+Alt+Danominator signing off. See you later, tech heads.